And we are live. What's good? Fix the cam. Get everything ready. All right. Command center. Command center online. Who's here? Any boys? Where the boys at? Where the boys at? Where the boys? Where the boys at? Where the boys at? Hello, hello. There he is. Cameron. Crayon eater. Crayon. Nothing much, man. Nothing much at all. Just finished cooking up some dinner. Finished it up. Wife is eating. Baby started crying. I'm like, time to live stream, dude. Good luck. How are you doing, Cam? How goes it? How goes it over in Cam world? What the fuck is up, Phil? Welcome, bro. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the shit show. Hold up. I can't hear anything. We're doing no headphones today. We're doing no headphones today. What's up, Cake? Welcome, bro. Good morning to everyone. How are you guys doing? Who the fuck is still in the playoffs? Or who's in the hunt for a playoff spot? Ronnie. There he is. The Ron man. The Ronner. Chilling. Worrying about losing this week. Dude. Absolute worst. When you're like 7-6. You know, 6-6, you're gunning. Playoffs start early for you, right? Playoffs start a week early. In like my important league, my main league, I basically had to win out the last like 3 weeks. And I lost every week. So your boy's on the sidelines, or your boy's fucking warming up the bench for someone else. I know, dude. Cam coming in, Trisha Takanawa. Here's Trisha Takanawa with the weather. What's was that Family Guy? Here's Ollie with the weather. It's gonna rain. Thank you, Ollie. Yeah, man, it sucks. It sucks trying to like get into the playoffs, and you're like, oh man, I got in. I'm in. Sigh of relief. And then it's like, all right, week one, you gotta. It's actually win and continue. Single elimination. One and done. I feel like I'd rather be the team that's running hot, though. Yeah, Cam, what's the dew point, dude? What's the humidity levels? There was a dude on Twitter who used to be. He's the weather guy. He's the guy you go to for the weather on every game. He'd do like a thread where he'd cover every single game. We need that dude. I need to find him. We're just going to scroll Twitter till we find him. Damn. Jacoby Myers or Luther Burden full PPR? How down bad are we? I feel like that's easy Myers, right? Fantasy points against. Let's start. Let's get prepped, man. We're gonna get some sit starts from people. We got to get prepped, man. We got to get the command center online, functional. Cam, we're gonna cover your the question that you sent me on Discord. We're gonna cover that. You sent me a nice dissertation. Easiest job there is, Cake. Easiest job out there, man. Covering the weather for the Dome games. Listen, man, I'm Team Dome. At this point, why doesn't every team just build the Dome? Like, let's get with the times, man. We're still dealing with the elements in 2025. We got iPads and walls, and we're over here jerking off like pilgrims. Let's get some domes, dude. Dude, where's all the fantasy football stuff on the Twitter world, man? I'm just getting politics. What's the beverage of choice for you guys today, man? What are you guys doing? I got a nice Münchner Hell beer. It's a what's a hell beer in English? A wheat beer, like a light. It's not really light. It's like 6%, but light colored beer from Munich. Shit is delicious, I will say, man. Once you start drinking German beer, you just can't go back, man. Is it really a home field advantage? I feel like the only team that has an actual like home field advantage when it comes to weather or environmental elements is probably Kansas City, right? Or is it Denver with the mile high thinner air? At least that's the case for like the NBA and basketball. I don't know if that's as detrimental in football. I feel like I used to hear that all the time though. We're like, oh, they're traveling to Denver this week. There's going to be some mile high air that they're going to be breathing. Immediately followed by a comment on how Julius Thomas used to be a basketball player. Drinking water, doing cardio. All right, Phil. My bad. Buffalo, that's true. But I feel like Buffalo, it's more of a home field advantage for the fans. All the obese Buffalo fans jumping into foldable tables, right? Hot tea? Cam, hot tea? Come on, man. What are we doing over here, dude? It's week 14. Win and you're in the playoffs. You're drinking tea? Cake. Give us the lowdown on Maine, brother. I'm from the absolute other corner. I'm from LA. I'm from SoCal originally. What's it like in Maine, dude? Like, give us the. Oh, okay. For 11 years sober. I respect that. I respect that. Listen, man, I don't want to get philosophical or I don't want to stray too far from football. You guys probably don't want me to either. But I feel like I've been big on like vices lately and like shedding vices, trying to get better, trying to get right, you know, whether it's gaming, alcohol, food, like I'm a big fan, man. That's like a huge part of what I've been binging addiction content on YouTube. You can call it an addiction. So I don't know, man. I respect that, Cam. It's like everybody has something. Brandon, what's up? Tea break, welcome, dude. How are you doing, man? I'm doing well, dude. I just said dude like 20 times. Doing okay, man. Man. Chilling. Sunday, in-laws were over, chilling with the newborn, hanging out, cooked some dinner. Ready for the games, man. I'm out of the playoffs in the leagues that matter to me, dude. So I'm over here. I'm just the elder at the top of the mountain, man. The oracle, and like, the movie 300 where he has to climb up the mountains and there's those grotesque elders he has to consult with. That's me, dude. Drinking a beer, ripping the vape. Come for all your fantasy football questions. I'll give you dog shit advice to help you miss the playoffs. But yeah, man. Vices. Look, dude, everybody has something. I play the fuck out of some video games, ripping Hearthstone, ripping the new Battlefield. But I'm aware that it's not good. But it is what it is, man. You're going to spend, 24 hours will pass regardless how you spend it, right? Aaron McLaughlin, is this AI? I'd love to get to the point, dude. I'd love to get to the point where I can just throw on an AI Ron and just fucking chill in the background while AI Ron gives you guys the advice. Cam, what's the thinking there, though? Without getting too intrusive over here, but what's the thinking? You're like, I'm going to quit alcohol. I mean, I can probably steel man that for you. Quitting alcohol, but you're still doing shrooms and weed. I guess the organic nature of it. It's organic. Alcohol's poison, right? Straight up poison. So I get it, but I don't know. Maybe you have a different reason. Hell yeah, Brandon. 2 months old. 2-month old baby. It is tough. It is tough. We got our first football question, guys. Spock. Jaden Daniels or Brissett? Jaden Daniels or Brissett? From my understanding, Brissett's playing the Rams, right? Let's just make sure. I don't have the matchups memorized, dude. As I mentioned, I'm out of the playoffs. Your boy is slowly losing the motivation to do the fantasy football content, but Brissett plays the Rams. Let's have a look and see how the Rams have been doing against quarterbacks. I like to look at the last 4 weeks personally. It just gives us a little bit of a better snapshot at how good a defense is performing. And the Rams are 17th best. So they're giving up 14 fantasy points to quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels gets to play against the Vikings, and the Vikings are the second best against quarterbacks. Plus, Jaden Daniels might not be getting as many design runs, man. I was talking to Cam about this, or I believe Cam or someone on the Discord about it. I don't think he's going to be running as much, man. He's got one elbow. So, Brissett, slightly better matchup. The way I see it, JD5 and Brissett are pretty much similar quarterbacks this week, right? JD5, not as mobile, not as many design runs. That's just my theory. I don't have any data to back that up. I imagine he's not going to be running as much with like half an elbow. So you're basically talking about two African-American, no, I'm just playing, two quarterbacks, both are going to be limited to being pocket passers, I think. Who's got the better matchup? Definitely Brissett. The problem, he's missing all his weapons, dude. He's missing Marvin. He's missing Greg Dortch, who I know, who the fuck is Greg Dortch? He's legit, dude. He's a legit little slot wide receiver. He still has McBride. He still has Michael Wilson. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. Brissett without weapons, but a better matchup, or immobile Jaden Daniels with most of his weapons. Right? 6-point passing touchdown too. So, you know what, Spock? I would personally go with Jaden Daniels. I don't want to play the Rams. I don't want Brissett against the Rams without Marvin Harrison, right? With fucking, what's his name? Bam Knight as his starting running back. I would go with Jaden Daniels and just hope he gets a couple nice breakaway runs, gives you a little bit of a floor there. And I think they can both throw 2 touchdowns this week, even in tough matchups. So I'd go with JD5 there, man. I'm a Rams fan, so I'm aware of how good the defense is. I don't really want to play anyone against the Rams if I don't have to, you know? I mean, you dropped Smitty for Michael Wilson? Damn. Brandon, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Dude, I'm drinking beer and ripping the vape on a YouTube. How am I? This is not going to be monetized, right? I'm not going to get the 13 cents for this. All right. Why am I on sleeper? Oh, I wanted to look up Devontae Smith. Let's look up Smith. How's he been doing? Smitty. I see your question, Cake. I'll get to it right now. I just want to look at how Smith's been doing. Look, man, if you dropped Smith for Michael Wilson and like I don't know if it's a must win for you, but I understand, dude. 28 fantasy points in week 7. But other than that, it looks like it's the AJ Brown show, dude. They're feeding this man. The what's the saying? What's the old adage? The loud wheel gets the grease, squeaky wheel gets the grease. So AJ Brown's been getting fed, dude. So I understand it. I don't know if I would have dropped Smith. I mean, if you were to see Smith on the waiver wire, you'd probably drop the bank, right? Open up the coffers. So Egbuka or Genti in flex full PPR, my third world problem. Seriously, man. Egbuka or Genti? All right, who are the Raiders playing? Ooh, the Broncos. The thing about Genti, man, is that he gets so much work, dude. He's an absolute full-time player, right? We're talking 23 touches. His floor seems to be 23 touches. I mean, okay, week 11. Dude, the yards per carry on Genti, man. Look at that. Look at this column right here. Sub 4, sub 3 in almost every game. Damn. Spock. I'd go with Jaden Daniels, bro. I don't know if you heard my long ass tangent about that, but I would go with Jaden Daniels, bro. All right, let's do Egbuka Genti first, and then we'll help you with the Pittman ETN one, Brandon. Genti against the Broncos gets so much work. How are the Broncos doing against running backs lately? I know they're great on the season. 8th best. They're giving up 16 fantasy points. Now, something I want to bring to your attention here, Brandon, is that the Broncos are only giving up 9 receptions. They've given up 9 receptions to running backs for 25 yards, bro. So he's not even going to be able to scam you as a receiving back, right? I don't know if you guys can see my screen right here, but that's concerning, right? Because Genti, usually you can probably scam it off of volume, but if the dude's not going to be if he's not going to be able to scam you on receptions, he's not going to be able to run the ball effectively against them. I mean, he hasn't been able to run the ball on anyone. I'm really worried about starting Genti in this game. The Broncos are hot. They're 10-2, 10-3, 10-2, 11-2. I don't even know. I think I'd just go Egbuka there, man. I know his matchup. Who are the Bucs playing again? Saints? I think the Saints are actually surprisingly decent against, yeah. I think they've been actually, yeah. I remember looking this up actually recently, bro. The Saints are actually surprisingly decent against wide receivers lately. They're 5th best the last 4 weeks. Let me change the view here for you guys. 5th best, man, the Saints against wide receivers. But I still think I'd start Egbuka, right? I still think Egbuka in a tough, quote-unquote, matchup or Genti in like one of the worst matchups. I think I'd go Egbuka, especially in full PPR, man. And then Pittman or ETN. So you basically got same matchup. I think I'd probably go ETN there, brother. I think I'd go ETN there, Brandon. You're going to get the volume. You know you're going to get the work. I understand, though, man. ETN is dude is annoying to start, right? Because as soon as you start to trust his ass, he'll give you 4 good weeks in a row, and then he'll give you a 4-point performance, right? I mean, early in the season, 4 good weeks, and then 3 bad weeks. 4 good weeks, maybe 3 bad weeks are on the docket. So I get it, but the Colts are not a defense I'm really too scared of, man. Yeah, they're 22nd worst against running backs. I'd go with ETN there, bro, just to be safe, because Pittman can either get you 15 fantasy points or he can get you 3, right? That's the problem with Pittman, is that it could just be a Jonathan Taylor game. While ETN, I think you can probably lock in that he's going to get the work. So that's what I would do, man. I'd go ETN. Or stick with the guy I drafted in Jefferson. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to say this, Brandon. If Jefferson and McCarthy cannot eat against the fucking Washington Commanders, who are like bottom 5 against quarterbacks, wide receivers, ball boys, electricians, plumbers, blacksmiths, then we are completely cooked and we cannot start Jefferson. Sorry, I didn't see you added Jefferson at the end. Between Pittman, Etienne, and Jefferson, I just go Jefferson, man. Go Jefferson. Essentially, J.J. McCarthy's job is on the line in this game. If he cannot produce against the Washington Commanders, who are legitimately cat shit, dude. So I'd go with Jefferson or ETN. So Jefferson number 1, ETN number 2. Let's move it along. We got Cam and Mentally Phil connecting on their Southern Florida connection. Brandon had another question. Let's look at it. Pittman, J-Mo, Justin Jefferson. I have CMC on bye. Damn. I go with Jefferson, bro. This is why you drafted this man, dude. If he can't perform in a good matchup, we're cooked. DJ Moore or Luther Burden? Yo, T-Break. As much as I love Burden, my dumbass is starting him this week. I wouldn't start him over DJ Moore personally. I feel like DJ Moore has just been solid regardless of how many mouths there are to feed. And now that you remove one mouth to feed, I mean, theoretically, he should still be involved, right? So Luther Burden, like, we have a variable change with the Bears. We're removing Odunze, so that's one variable change. We're going to need a second variable to change of Burden to now be good, to actually capitalize on that. He's going to have to do what he hasn't done, while DJ Moore is just going to have to continue doing what he's been doing, which has been actually pretty good, right? So let me know if that makes sense. Ronnie, what the fuck, bro? Beer of choice, Rolling Rock? Listen, man, if you're not... Rolling Rock is the fucking tits. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot, guys. Rolling Rock is the tits if you're shotgunning, if you're doing the beer bong, or if you're just like playing beer pong. Rolling Rock is the way to go, dude. Never fails. It's cheap as hell. You can buy back when I was in college, dude, how cringe, man. 32-year-old fantasy football YouTuber with 2,000 subs talking about his college days, man. Fucking unsubscribe now. When I was in college, man, Rolling Rock, dude, 30 rack. Shit was like $16. It's like, I'm losing money, bro. I'm losing money when I pass by the beer. When I pass by the beer section, I see that Rolling Rock on sale for $4.99 for a 30 rack. I'm losing money if I don't buy like 6 of them, dude. So let's go. $2. Thank you, sir. Mentally Phil, you're the GOAT, dude. I appreciate it, man. You guys don't have to super chat, dude. I really appreciate it, but you guys really don't have to. I just enjoy talking ball with the boys, dude. Save your money. I want those sponsors to pay me, dude. I want the fans. I want the community. You guys, dude. You guys are the boys. You guys are the dogs. I want the sponsors to pay my motherfucking bills, dog. Yeah, Cam. I was gonna screenshot it all, or just screen share it, and we can like tackle it as a community. Throw that shit here in the chat, but water it down, bro. So give us your RBs. So like I think you had Devin Neal, Um, you had Devin Neal and Gainwell, and then give us your 2 wide receivers. And then, you know what? I'll do it, bro. I'll do this shit right here. We're doing it live, man. Fuck it. Ronnie. What did you ask, Ronnie? Hold up. Let me scroll up. I just saw your beer of choice was Rolling Rock, man. You had me stun locked. Burrow. Oh, I see it. I see it. Burrow, JD5, Love, or Herbert. Damn. So we kind of already talked about JD5. That I think he's just going to be limited to being a pocket passer in a pretty tough matchup, right? The Vikings are a tough matchup, so 43.5 over under. JD5 is probably at a glance the last choice that I would personally put in. Let's look at Herbert. Let's have a look at Herbert real quick against the Eagles. I know that sounds like a bad matchup, but let's see how the Eagles have been doing against QBs. It's fucking hot as shit in this room. Damn. 17th, so they're middle of the pack against quarterbacks. Not ideal, right? Plus, we got Hampton coming back. Maybe they want to lean on the run a little bit more. Burrow. Cam, what's the weather report? Trisha Takanawa, what's the weather report? Bengals, Bills, weather. What do we got? %65 chance of snow. Okay. 30 degrees. Not too bad. I feel like sub 20 is where it starts to get a little bit problematic, right? You know what, bro? I want a piece of that Bills-Bengals game, man. I just have a feeling it's going to be a shootout. I have a feeling that the Bills and Bengals are going to go back and forth. Joe Burrow's playing for pride at this point, man. I'm going to go Burrow. I'm going to go Burrow there, man. Just Herbert against the Eagles, not excited. Love against the Bears, low over under. Not too excited about that either, man. I want a piece. I want to see Burrow to chase for 2 touchdowns. Maybe Higgins gets one. I feel like Burrow can throw three tuds in this game, so I go with Burrow, bro. All right, let's catch up. Sorry, guys. Hell yeah, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to talk ball, dude. Just trying to talk ball with the boys. Mentally fill a couple flex questions for 2 separate leagues. Woody, AD, or Luther? Damn, dog. Are you playing for 10th place over here, Phil? Woody, AD, or Luther? Damn. Homie's trying to get that 11th place consolation bracket slot. No, dude, it's actually not even that bad. My ass started Isaac Tesla this week, so who am I to talk, dude? Who am I? The pot calling the kettle black. All right. Woody, I know, has a bad match, but I don't even have to look at it, dude. The Chiefs. Cam, this might actually help you too. Let's look at Woody, dude. Let's talk about whether we want to start him this week. Last 4 weeks, how have the Chiefs been doing against running backs? 10th best. Not as bad as it used to be earlier in the season, right? They were like top 3 early in the season. Looks like they've let up a little bit. 18 fantasy points allowed. Only one receiving touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Not ideal. The problem is that when they get into the end zone, man, are they just going to give it a Chubb like they did last game? Yeah, and he's never scored more than 11 points, like ever in his life, going back to Pee Wee. I feel like he hasn't he? Didn't he have like a 26? Brother man, Cameron. He had 25 fantasy points in week 4, bro. How can I trust your weather reports now that I know you're a conniving, scheming, shenaniganing. Phil fighting for 6th place. I feel it, dude. I'm just fucking around, man. I'm just joshing, dude. I'm just joshing. But what a collection of names, man. Woody, AD Mitchell. Imagine in week 1 of the season being like, yo, dude, my season, the fucking fate of my season comes down to Woody Marks, Adonai, can't catch a ball Mitchell, and Luther Burden, the fucking 8th option on the Bears. But Phil, I'd play AD Mitchell. I've already done a little bit of research on AD Mitchell, Woody, Luther Burden this week. I'm just gonna tell you, man. I was doing some digging on AD Mitchell. Like, is he legit? Is he real? And he's been absolutely shredding single high safety coverage. Like in this week 13, Atlanta plays a lot of single high safety. It's just, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's one safety over the top. He's been shredding that. And Miami plays that, I think, like the second most in the NFL. So he could eat yet again in this game against Miami, whose defense really isn't that scary. So in that league, I'd probably start AD Mitchell. I just think you're playing for upside, right? Like you want the dude who can get you 20 fantasy points. AD Mitchell might have the best chance of that because he is somebody that they want to feed and they want to see what they have in him. So I'd go with AD Mitchell. Luther Burden, I love him as a talent, but I just don't think he's going to get enough volume. While if AD Mitchell can hit that, 7 to 12 target range again, which I think he could, you're going to be a lot happier with that, in my opinion. So that's what I'll do there. I'll go AD Mitchell first. ETN, Ladd, or Woody in the second league. We've already kind of talked about Woody. I think it's between ETN and Ladd there. Chargers are playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. How have they been doing against? I feel like they haven't been that great against wide receivers, if I recall correctly. 12th best. I feel like the Eagles, if you're going to beat them, it's going to be with wide receivers. Damn, that's a tough one, dude. ETN or Ladd? What would you guys do in the chat? Would you guys go ETN against the Colts or Ladd against the Eagles? I think they're both about the same. Yeah, the Colts are 22nd worst against running backs. I'm just going to say this, bro. Who was it, Brandon? Who was I helping here? Phil? Look, man, ETN is guaranteed 12 touches, maybe 15 if he's running hot. Is Ladd McConkey going to be guaranteed touches, bro? How's he been doing lately? Let's have a look, man. Conk, Ladd, where you at? Where's our boy? 6 targets seems to be kind of the median at the moment the last couple weeks. He had a nice little stretch those middle weeks where he had 9, 15, and 10 targets, but our boy's kind of floating around 6 a game. He's going to have to get a touchdown if you're going to be happy, right? He's going to have to break one. His yards per target or yards per catch are going to have to be higher for you to be happy. I'd probably go with ETN there, man. Let's avoid a goose egg. I don't think ETN has a high chance of goosing in like a divisional game back and forth against the Colts. A high over-under. And the Eagles' defense could show up, right? They do have a good secondary. That's the one place you could beat them. So I'd personally go. I was just thinking that, Cam. Week 4, that's like 2 years ago. It's true. Woody Marks hasn't done anything the last couple weeks, right? He broke 15 fantasy points once in the last, 6 weeks? So, yeah, bro, I'd go with ETN. Chargers have a beat-up secondary. Is it really that beat up? ETN, yeah, ETN. He has kind of shredded the Colts, hasn't he? Yeah, I had Mike Evans on a video recently. I think it was like, these are the 7 players I think are going to be like circumstantial or relevant for fantasy championship teams. I think Mike Evans was one. They just have like a good schedule. Like homie is like 1,000 yards away from 1,000 yards and might they're going to be pushing to try to get it in one game. So Cam, you kind of know how I feel about Woody Marks now after that diatribe. So I see him there on your waiver wire. It is interesting, but I don't know, man. let's I'm gonna pull it up right now, Cam, because this is so Woody Marks is interesting. Bam Knight in a vacuum is an interesting pickup, but I just think against the Rams, Bam Knight's been really good on a per touch basis for the Cardinals, but against the Rams, what is this man's name? Zonovan or some shit? Yeah, I know you have Gainwell, but I'm trying to think about who you can potentially start over them. Like Bam Knight has kind of been automatic, right? Like ever since he's gotten lead back duties, I guess pseudo lead back duties. I don't know if I'd call it lead back. He's been really, really actually very usable, right? Like 12, 11, 15 fantasy points off like 13 to 14 touches a game. Like anyone approaching 1 fantasy point per touch is someone that we need to have a look at, right? But against the Rams, I'm not the biggest fan of that, I will say, man. The Rams kind of taking a little bit of a step back against running backs the last 4 weeks. 24th worst. 24th worst, man. Now, on the season, they're great, right? On the season, the Rams are 4th. But the last 4 weeks, the Rams are 24th worst, man. So, Cam, Bam Knight, I see him staring at me there on your waiver wire. These divisional games, you know, Cardinals, Rams, sometimes they're weird, bro. And sometimes, like, teams you would, I mean, just look at what the Panthers did to the Rams last week. Like, sometimes these teams that you don't expect to perform just show up, dude, especially in these divisional games. So Bam Knight is someone where on a per touch basis, he's been really good, dude. He's actually played really well. And the Rams defense against running backs have really kind of tempered off the last couple weeks, man. The last 4 weeks to be exact. So it's very interesting, bro. The way I see it, Cam, I'm looking at Devin Neal. Now, on paper, Devin Neal gets to play against the Buccaneers, right? I believe so. The Buccaneers, where are they at? Now, the Buccaneers on paper are 20th worst against running backs and fantasy points allowed. But we do know that the Buccaneers, like historically, as long as Vita Vea is in the game, we do know that the Bucs are legit, that they can stop the run, right? So I don't want that Buccaneers team to show up. I don't want to start Devin Neal and that version of, you know, the Vita Vea-led run D of the Bucs shows up and just completely, I mean, can we trust Neal is the problem. He's going to get just as many touches as Zonovan Knight, but he's yet to do anything with those touches, right? 14 for 47, 3 for 22. That's just my thoughts there. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Devin Neal seems like a trap. Seems like a little bit of a trap. We've seen Bam. He's done it 3 weeks in a row on a per touch basis. Pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I guess in week 12, that's not a good 10 carries for 12 yards. I guess that's not great. And then Gainwell, the problem that I have with Gainwell, man, is that he has to be really good with the touches he does get. Week 12 against Chicago, they really wanted to establish the run. He gets 16 touches in that game. Actually could have had a much bigger game. I think he had like a touchdown called back. But we saw a different game script against the Buffalo Bills where they were playing from behind, and you would think that Gainwell would be more involved, but he just wasn't, right? So I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried that Jaylen Warren is still the lead guy. Like, you're basically starting an RB2, right? You're willingly starting an RB2 over one of these guys sitting on your waiver wire who, Bam Knight is a legit starter. Chris Rodriguez, legit starter, like number one, getting all the touches. Zach Charbonnet, I mean, he's the 1B, right? He's not a bona fide starter like the other guys, but he might have the highest touchdown upside on this. Like, if we looked at Vegas lines, I think Charbonnet might be the highest odds to get a touchdown out of this list of guys, out of this ragtag crew, right? So I think like I'd really take a step back. I see Bam, bona fide starter, getting all the starter touches in divisional game back and forth. I see Chris Rodriguez playing against the lowly Minnesota Vikings with Jaden Daniels back, right? So if Chris Rodriguez was actually serviceable without JD5, I mean, dude has like 20 fantasy point upside. I don't know, dude. You're in a tough spot because it's kind of an embarrassment of middle class, right? Not an embarrassment of riches, but an embarrassment of like a bunch of decent RB4, RB3 options. So if it's my team and I'm playing for the playoffs, man, I think I would start. Man, how can I recommend Bam Knight? I know you're already locked in on him, but it's tough to recommend him, dude. It's tough to recommend Bam Knight against the Rams, but I just have like a feeling. Look, man, I don't want to tell you what to do and then be responsible for you missing the playoffs. I just want to say that when it comes to running backs, I'm chasing opportunities, I'm chasing touches, right? And I want to hope that they're efficient on those touches. And when I'm looking at this list of players, I know you guys can't see the list that I'm looking at, but it's like Woody Marks, Bam Knight, Pollard, Rodriguez, Charbonnet, Kareem Hunt. I see Bam Knight and I see Chris Rodriguez, and I know that these two guys are starters. You know, I probably wouldn't do Chris Rodriguez over Neal, but I think I'd do Bam Knight and I don't know, bro. Cam, you're killing me with this one, man. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Should we have a look at Vegas lines? Betting pros. Let's look at total carry lines. How about that? If we're gonna chase opportunity and chase touches, and then look at the matchups, let's have a look at rushing attempts. All right, let's do Rodriguez first. The stream turned into a let's set cams. So Rodriguez sitting at 11 and a half rush attempts. Let's write that down. I feel like Charbonnet is going to be somewhere around there as well. 10 and a half. What's Neal at? 11.5 for Neal. Okay. Dude, hopefully this helps more people too, because I think some people are also debating on whether to start these guys. Marks. 13.5 for Marks. Damn. But it's a tough matchup. All right. And then I think you also had a couple more. Who was it? Bam? Does he go by Bam? 11.5. Yeah, dude, I think I'd probably lean. Fuck. I don't know if this even helped. I think when it comes to Gainwell, Cam, we'll move on. What's up, Fizz? Welcome, dude. No problem, dude. No worries being late, dude. We're just hanging out. We're talking ball. When it comes to Gainwell, I suppose sticking with Gainwell is probably like a low risk play because we do know he's going to get touches, and we do know that it's usually a competent offense. The problem that I have with Gainwell, I wanted to send you this on Discord, Cam, is that the Ravens have been really good, dude. Really good lately against pretty much everyone. Their defense has been legit. So the Ravens are 9th best against running backs the last 4 weeks. I think they're legit, dude. I think their defense really turned a corner after I think like week 4 or so. So that's what worries me about the Gainwell start is that even if he gets touches, I don't know if he's going to be great with them. You're basically deciding between a bunch of dudes with bad matchups. So in that event, I'd probably chase the volume. And it seems like Rodriguez, Woody Marks are going to get the most volume, Bam Knight. So, I don't know. 83-point lead on my opponents need a flex and one wide receiver full PPR. So Ronnie, you have such a fat lead, Ron, that you can probably go with the safer plays. Starting RBs are Cook, Bucky. Wide receivers are Olave, Shakir, Jamo, and Flowers. Swift, Etienne, and any of the three. All right, so you're definitely starting Cook. You're definitely starting Bucky. You already started Jamo, and you're deciding between Swift, Etienne, Flowers. Wait, what? How many wide receivers do you have, bro? It's kind of confusing, Ron. Ron, let me know. Oh, B Silva coming in, dude. Set my lineup. Set my lineup. B Silva, dude. There he is. What the fuck is up, B Silva? Set every lineup in all my leagues, but I don't remember your ass. B Silva, dude. You're goated in this. You're goated in the streets, B Silva. Ronnie, can you rephrase that, bro? Just give me the names and tell me how many you need to start. Like, forget positions, just, or no, keep the positions. So tell me how many running backs, how many wide receivers, and how many flexes, and then just list the names, and we'll tackle it that way, brother. Wide receivers are Olave, Shakir, Jamo, and Flowers. I started Jamo. Oh, you started Jamo, and you're deciding between Swift, Etienne, and any of the three. I think I understand. I don't want to start Flowers or Shakir, personally. I feel like it's... I don't know what you're asking, to be honest. I feel like it's Olave, Etienne, and Swift. If you can start those three, I probably lean Etienne at the top, and then Olave, then Swift. Let me know if that makes sense, bro, if you need help. So you're definitely starting Cook and Bucky, and you're going to prefer Etienne, then you're going to prefer Olave, you're going to prefer Swift. If you need another wide receiver, it's probably Flowers. So Shakir is probably the last one. That's how I'd rank them, bro. From now, dude, I think I'll just do that, right? If people give me a fat ass list of names, I'll just rank them, right? You can figure out the positions. Start one, full PPR flex. Aaron Jones, Woody, Burden, Hunt, Charbonnet. B Silva, dude. B Silva. Aaron Jones, Woody. Let's check out Jones first. How's his health looking? Cloudy week 14 outlook for Aaron Jones. Why? Shoulder injury? He doesn't have an injury designation though. And the Washington Commanders are fucking butt cheeks against running backs. I'd probably go Aaron Jones there, man. This is like a get-right game for the whole Vikings, right? If J.J. McCarthy can't perform against the Vikings or against the Commanders, homie's not going to have a job. So he's going to be leaning on Jones. He's going to be leaning on Jefferson, Hawkinson. I think you're just going to start Aaron Jones there, bro, if you only have one to start, even in a full PPR. I love Burden, bro. I just can't trust him yet. Choose one, Khalil Shakir in a snow game. Christian Watson, frozen game. Adonai Mitchell. Hell yeah, I love the context, Wes. Let's help our boy Wes out, dude. Welcome, by the way, Wes. How's your week been going, man? How you doing? How's life? Yeah, how's everybody doing, man? How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are still in the hunt for playoffs. Hope you guys are doing well. Chilling, dude. Hitting the gym, eating right. Let's see. Khalil Shakir. I don't want to start Shakir, Wes. I can already tell you that, man. I'm benching that man in every league. I just can't deal with the 0 point, the hot and cold. Like, I start him, he did jack fuck all. I bench him, he popped off for like 14 fantasy points. And then I start him thinking he's back, 0 fantasy points. So it's just like, I don't know, man. The carousel is just not working. So I don't want to start Shakir. So in my opinion, it's between Watson, Mitchell, and Marks. We kind of talked about Marks a little bit. Basically, the Chiefs haven't been as good against running backs lately as they were in the past. And Woody Marks is projected for 13.5 carries, the most out of a lot of those like similar valued running backs. So We also touched on Adonai Mitchell, Wes. Basically, a lot of his production has come against single high safety, which Miami plays a lot of. So he could repeat, dude. He could repeat. I know what you mean about Shakir at the short work, but dude, in a snow game, I think it probably favors the run. It favors the run. Dalton Kincaid might be back too, and I know Kincaid kind of steals Khalil Shakir's thunder, man. So I don't want to start Shakir, in my opinion. Adonai Mitchell is very interesting, bro. I'm telling you, he performs against single high safety. He was shredding the Falcons, who play that coverage, and I think he's probably your best bet for a dude who's going to get you 7 to 12 targets again by an actual quarterback who can actually throw the ball a little bit, right? Tyrod Taylor. So I can't believe I'm saying to start Adonai Mitchell over those guys, man. But Christian Watson, if it's a frozen game, like you say, I haven't been following the weather report on that one too much, but that kind of stuff always worries me, right? But let's see how the Bears have been doing against wide receivers lately. 24th worst. So Watson would be the man if the weather was better, but I think I'd start Adonai Mitchell. The Miami Dolphins are not a scary team. Looks like they want to get him involved. They want to see what they got in him. I can't believe I'd say it, but I want upside. I want a guy who could catch a deep bomb touchdown again. Now, Watson fits that as well, but with the circumstances of the weather, I think you probably diminishes those chances a little bit. So I'd probably lean Adonai Mitchell there. But I understand, man. Look, I don't want to be responsible for you potentially missing the playoffs, man. But like, if you need like upside and you need like an explosion game, I'd go with Adonai. If you need a safe play that you just want to get 8 to 12 fantasy points, I'd probably go with Woody Marks. So it depends what you need, man. Ray Gamer, what's up, brother? Welcome, man. Non-PPR league, 6 points per touchdown. Which two wide receivers would you start? Jefferson, Egbuka, Sutton, or BTJ? And which quarterback? Let's hit the wide receivers first for Ray Gamer. I don't know if you're still here, brother, but we talked about Jefferson a little bit earlier in the stream. If Jefferson and McCarthy cannot perform against like the bottom 5 Commanders defense, McCarthy will not have a job next year. So this man is playing for his legitimate like livelihood right now. So he's going to know who butters his bread, dude, who gets his paycheck signed. It's going to be Jefferson, right? It's going to be Jones. Like he's going to lean on the skill players that he knows can produce for him. I think this is strangely one of the only weeks that I would actually start Jefferson. So I'd still go Jefferson there, man. Get comfortable over here, man. Getting hot in here. Hold up. Woo! All right, Daniels or Love? Or hold on, let's answer the quarterback question that he had. Lamar, Burrow, or JD5? I'm going Lamar. I know he's been absolute butt cheeks lately, but against Pittsburgh, we know it's a divisional game. They're in the hunt for the playoffs. It's a must-win. I know it's really tough starting Lamar, but I'd still start him there. And if you don't feel good about Lamar, if you don't want to start him, if his injury just scares you a little bit, then it's Burrow. I think out of those 3, that's the way I'd rank it. I'd personally still start Lamar. It's just he goes for 30, he wins you your week, right? I don't know if Burrow against Buffalo in the snow. I want to believe that it can be a shootout, but these games can turn into slugfests. And yeah, man. And which tight end with Kittle on bye, Waller or Fannin Jr.? Who are the Browns playing this week? Let's have a look. They're playing Tennessee. How's Tennessee doing against tight ends? Tennessee is where the fuck are they, dude? Am I blind? Where are the Titans at? Oh, there they are. 11th best against tight ends. So the Browns playing Tennessee, who are 11th best against tight ends. I guess you're not too confident about Fannin this week, right? I think Waller is probably the play. I know that The Jets are the 10th best, but we know they're not. They're actually not as good as it shows. I think the Jets don't perform that well against, or they've been performing well against Saints simply because you can run the ball on them usually. But I don't know. That's speculation. They're similarly ranked. It's just Waller's a lot more important to his team, right? He's like a pivotal pass catching option on the Dolphins. So I'd go with Waller there. Just Fanning can bust. Like he's gonna have to get you another touchdown, and I'm not entirely sure he will. So Daniels or Love? I probably lean Love there against the Bears, divisional game. Daniels probably not as mobile. And the baby's doing well, Cam. Thanks for asking, man. She's getting better, dude. The first couple months, I will say, a little bit tough. She, yeah, man, she's just bothered by everything, dude. Wanting to always be on someone, contact napping, all that stuff. So, it could be tough, dude. You're basically playing hot potato with the baby, with the wife. And, yeah, there always has to be somebody with her. So, but we're kind of turning a corner a little bit where the baby is able to be kind of alone, sit in her little chair, you give her the little toys. She has like this black and white book that she fucks with. So it's getting better though, man. Thanks for asking, dude. It's definitely quite a experience being a parent. So my whole life I've always had to worry about, myself, right? And then my wife eventually, but having a baby, it's like, oh shit, Tamagotchi that matters more than myself now. But yeah, Wesley, big week. I feel you about Khalil Shakir, man, but I'm just not. I don't want to play that roulette game of him doing nothing and then being somewhat relevant, right? He doesn't even have like that 25-point upside. So Marks or Gainwell, Fazul, yeah, dude, I'll leave you and Fazul to hash that out. Shakir's sitting on waivers, one of my leagues, nobody trusts him. Exactly. I agree, man. Yeah, dude, I'd probably go with A.D. Mitchell, man. He's not only is he the dude who's going to get the most targets, he's also has that like big time upside, right? So, Fazul goes the same Marks. I might have to agree with old Fazul over here, but benching Bowers and Tootin. Hold on, Baker or Love from Will. What's up, Will? Welcome, brother. Baker or Love? Baker is playing against the Saints. Let's have a look at how the Saints have been doing against quarterbacks. If I remember, they've actually been pretty good, dude. Damn. 5th best against quarterbacks, man. The Saints have been the 5th best team in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. They're only allowing 9.57 fantasy points the last 2 weeks. The last 4 weeks, they are the number 1 team against quarterbacks. Wow. That is insane, dude. I don't know if you're still here, Will. I'd go with Love. I don't want to play the Saints. I guess you're just able to run the ball on them, and maybe their secondary is a lot better than maybe we expected. So give me Jordan Love, divisional game, Chicago. I know Cam said Baker, but these are just the numbers, right? I'm just showing you guys the fantasy points against. The Saints are number 1. That's just me, bro. I don't know. Like, I know Baker's much better than Jordan Love, or I don't know. I don't know who's better there, actually, but I'd go with Love. Wesley, best channel on the internet. Thank you, man. Definitely not true, but I appreciate the words, man. I'm just trying to create content that I think I would like, right? The content that would help myself. Like I'm doing this. I was doing this research for myself. I'm just a fantasy nerd, a fantasy enjoyer, always looking up stuff. So I'm like, why not just make a little channel, dude? I have all this camera equipment for my job, so like, I don't know, but I appreciate it, Wes. Waller had 2 touchdowns last time he played the Jets. There you go, man. Who's the other wide receiver you would play with Jefferson? Ray Gamer. Let me see. So if you could start 2 wide receivers, Ray Gamer, my bad, bro. Jefferson, and then we got Sutton playing against. Who are they playing? Who are the Broncos playing this week? The Raiders. A really low over-under. Dude. The Raiders are I'd go with Egbuka, man. Just go with Jefferson and Egbuka. Brian Thomas Jr., I don't want to start. I know he's got a good matchup, and this would be the matchup that he would perform against the Colts, who play a lot of man coverage, but I just don't trust him. Like, I'd rather see him do it and then be like, all right, can we start to trust him again? So I'd go with Jefferson and Egbuka and just hope that Baker can actually just hope that he can produce early against the Saints and one of those touchdowns goes to Egbuka. All right, let's move this shit along. I'm benching Bowers and Tune this week. Fizz. What? I mean, I understand benching Tune, but Bowers? I want to see the rest of your team, Fizz. Appreciate it, Ray Gamer. I hope it helps, man. Let me know. Let me know how it goes. Brees or ETN? Ooh. Who are the Jets playing? Who are the Jets playing? Dolphins. How have the Dolphins been doing against running backs? That's going to give us a good indication if we can trust Breesy. If I remember, they've been pretty good, man. Damn. Number 2 against running backs the last 4 weeks. Number 2 against running backs the last 4 weeks, Brandon. So, and number 1 the last 2 weeks, man. So, I don't know if I want to start Brees Hall over ETN. I think I'm going with ETN there. I know Brees is probably a better play in a full PPR league, but it looks like the Dolphins defense has... I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. They fired someone, or the GM or someone got fired for the Dolphins, and suddenly their defense became good. So, I don't know, man. Dude, my child is going to inherit this fantasy football channel. She's going to have zero interest in fantasy football, but it will be hers. This legacy must be bestowed down upon her. Would you play Waller over Schultz? I would, Brandon. I want a guy who's potentially the number 2 pass catching option or number 3 behind Achane, or maybe even number 2. We don't know. And Schultz, the dude, listen, man, if I ever met Schultz in real life, let's be honest, I wouldn't do anything. I'd be like, oh my God, is that Dalton Schultz? But I would want to fight him. Like, it would be hands on sight in my mind, right? I'd be playing through the scenario. I'd be telling my wife after, like, dude, I would have fucked that guy up. But, like, I just want to fight that man because anytime I play him, he's he's dog shit, dude. Like, I'm talking negative 5 points or sub 5 points. And anytime I drop him, I don't start him, the dude pops up for like 12, 13 fantasy points. Also, his name, just Dalton Schultz, like, tell me you don't just want to fucking square up on a dude named Dalton, you know? Dalton Schultz. That's a German ass name too, by the way. So that's like I know a couple of Schultzes out here, and it's hands on sight with them too. They're actually nice dudes, but you know, I don't make the rules, dude. I just play by the rules. You know, if your name is Dalton or Schultz, you're catching this motherfucking fade, homie. All right, let's get serious, dude. Jalen Warren, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going Warren there. I just think he's going to get most of the work. Snow game, right? No. It's Watson that's in the snow game. Jalen Warren's going to get most of the work, and his matchup is not bad. Not bad at all. I don't even remember what it is. I just remember it's not bad. Playing against the Bengals, man. Playing against the Bengals, you're starting Jalen Warren, dude. So Christian Watson, I love him. Just a snow game that really makes me not want to start him if I don't have to. Jacoby keeps looking better and better. I'm gonna say, dude, Fizz, my bad, listing agent. I'll get to your question right now, man. Welcome, by the way. Schultz, yeah, Jacoby's been looking great. Fizz, we'll talk about Jacoby, man. Schultz, Fannin, Johnson. Pick one tight end. We talked about Fannin. He's got a tough matchup. Schultz, I just went on a whole thing about Schultz, how I'm going to fight that man if I meet him. But let's actually look at the matchup. Let's actually look at the matchup that Schultz has. He's playing the Chiefs. They're 10th best against tight ends. Not ideal, right? The Chiefs have some fast linebackers, dude. That's what I know. It's time to drop Ricky P. I can't believe it, dude. Bro. I need to get some like public lashings, man, or like I need to walk through the streets naked, getting whipped for how high I was on Ricky Pearsall, man. I thought he'd come back, step back into the wide receiver one role, fucking lash me, dude. Put me up on a cross, give me a couple lashings, a couple whips. I don't understand, dude. I don't understand how Ricky Pearsall is so irrelevant, so uninvolved, so unspectacular, so unserious, man. Like, I'll take a fat L, dude. I'll eat a dick on that one. I don't get it, dude. Maybe someone else has some insights on that. But Schultz, Fannin, Johnson. I'm probably gonna go with Johnson there, man. Anyway, back to the question. Schultz, Fannin. Schultz will I'll fuck up if I ever meet. Fannin or this live stream is getting off the rails a little bit, dude. We're getting a little silly over here. Schultz, Fannin, or Johnson? Juwan Yongsang. Let's see. Who are the Saints even playing this week? I'm sorry, man. Saints playing the Bucks, dude. 29th worst against tight ends. Let's go with Juwan Johnson, man. Go with our boy Juwan. But back to your question though, Jackson. Is it time to drop Ricky Pearsall? No. I'm going to say no, dude. I'm going to stick by my guns, dude. Been wrong 2 weeks. Let's make it a third, dude. Stick with Ricky Pearsall. I want to see Ricky Pearsall, like, do something so that I can then say I'm right. But in all seriousness, man, at the end of the day, this is a team. They throw the ball above average. So a neutral game script, they throw the ball almost more than any other team. I believe they're like third or fourth. There's just something up here, dude. There's something up. 2 targets, 4-3. Now, Jaden Reed is interesting. Because Jaden Reed, not only this week in a really good matchup for slot wide receivers, but when Jaden Reed was healthy on a per route basis, was the far and away wide receiver one. The problem is Christian Watson wasn't there. So Christian Watson's back. You now have Jaden Reed. Matthew Golden will be back, who I believe is working a double shift at Office Depot at the moment, dude. The man is just MIA. But there might be a lot of mouths to feed. I'm going to stick with Pearsall. At the end of the day, he's like the number 2 wide receiver there. So, yeah, man, I don't know what's up with him, dude. Would you start Woody Marks over Geno Smith in Superflex? I personally would not do that, Wes. I usually lean the quarterback, but I do know that the Raiders are playing Denver. Damn. You're basically asking can Geno Smith get to 13 fantasy points? Because that is Woody Marks' best day, right? Can he get to 13 fantasy points against the Broncos? I think he could. I think he could get there. I think he has a better chance of getting there, while Woody Marks is going to have to do that against the Chiefs. Just stick with Geno, man. I think you might be overthinking it a little bit. Just play the quarterback, in my opinion. What's up, Tammy6402? Is this our first female in the live stream? Gentlemen, keep it together. Keep your pants on. All right. Tyler Algier, Darnell Mooney, Jordan Mason, Cooper Kupp. Or should I stream Luther Burden III? Interesting. Blake Corum, Adonai Mitchell, or John Mechie? Shit. All right. Let's do this one by one. So Tyler Algier playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who are 4th best against running backs. I probably don't want to play Algier on this game. I know he's good for like a goal line touchdown, but I don't want to start him in that game. So I'm fading Algier there. Darnell Mooney. Similarly, the Seahawks are legit against wide receivers, if I remember correctly. Where are they at? They are 7th best. Probably not wanting to do Darnell Mooney. Jordan Mason actually has a pretty decent matchup against the Commanders, right? They are 30th worst against running backs. So if you're looking for a flex and you're looking for upside, I'd go with Adonai Mitchell out of that list, personally. Adonai Mitchell's a guy that I think could get you 20 fantasy points. The fact that it's a PPR league as well, looks like he's good for at least like 7 targets. So I'd go with Adonai Mitchell out of that bunch personally, but John Mechie is also someone who's getting some targets. So I think, honestly, between all those names that you gave me, I would lean Adonai Mitchell for the upside. Mechie for, like, floor, if you're looking for floor, because I do think he's been the most consistent in terms of targets the last couple weeks. He's playing 82% plus. He's getting, 7, 8 targets. Yeah, I'd personally go Adonai Mitchell there. Hope it helps Tammy. Good luck. Let me know what you end up going with, though, so that I can keep a mental note when I'm watching Red Zone later. Fizz, I imagine you're watching this. You're watching it from the beginning because you're talking about alcohol in the chat. Yeah. It is probably the worst, most harmful drugs. It is literally a poison. You're literally poisoning your body. And that's why you get drunk, right? I'm not going to pretend to be a scientific man here and talk about the scientific process, but you are legitimately poisoning your body. But Fizz, I don't know when you're going to hear this or see this, but here's the thing, man. Almost everything we do poisons our body. Like as soon as you're born, you start dying, dude. As the famous Cake song would go, right? So even oxygen, man. Breathing oxygen is bad for our bodies. It's like we need it. We need oxygen to live, obviously, but supposedly it's bad for our cells. I think it ages our cells or some shit like that. I don't know. This is now a bro science live stream and podcast and YouTube channel. So if you're here for fantasy football, get the fuck out. Charlie Best, what's up, brother? Welcome, man. I need to use 3, having McConkey, Michael Wilson, Jalen Warren, Terry McLaurin, Woody, Burden, Tootin. I mean, shit, dude. Just name every player that exists, man. What am I supposed to do with this, bro? Charlie. You need 3, though. Let's have a look. So I think if you were to look at most rankings, you'd probably say McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Warren, right? Or like McConkey, Michael Wilson, Terry McLaurin. If it's full PPR, I'd probably lean that way. McLaurin, Wilson, McConkey. If it's half PPR, I would go. I would personally go with Warren in a really good matchup, right? McConkey. Or I would go Warren, Michael Wilson, McLaurin, honestly. I just see McConkey against the Eagles. I can see the Eagles defense showing up, shutting down the Chargers, whose O-line is really banged up right now. So I'd probably sit McConkey there, man. Because McConkey's targets seem to be hovering around, I believe we talked about earlier, like 6 targets a game. So just not enough. And Fizz, you're definitely right on Brissett. It's just, I'm worried about the Rams. I'm worried that the Rams defense just smothers them. No problem, Tammy. Hope it helps. Yeah, I think that's all the questions, right? Any more? Anything else from you guys? Let your brother know. We will address it here live. As you guys see, if you've been here for the most of the live stream, I don't pretend to be some expert, man. I just try to look at the data. I look at the over-unders. I look at how those teams have been performing against that position. That shit can go wrong, right? It can easily go wrong. Like, sometimes it's all about matchups, right? Like, the left guard might just have a really good matchup where he's just eating, the right defensive lineman. And then the team is able to run the ball or not run the ball. So, like, there's so many factors, man. Fantasy football is, I don't know. it's such a you're really just going by the data and you're hoping that it goes your way. Like, I don't know. Cameron, thank you for the football question to distract me from this dumb diatribe. We good with McLaurin at wide receiver 2 or Franklin? Ah, yeah. Let's talk about that. So I did see Franklin sitting there on your waiver wire. And I was interested. I was interested in Franklin over McLaurin simply because of the matchups, right? And the fact that Franklin has kind of been hot. So McLaurin against the Vikings, I'm not too excited about that, man. Even with Jaden Daniels coming back, I'm worried that Jaden Daniels is not going to be as mobile. And it is a tough matchup for them, if I remember. I was glancing at it while I was sitting on my couch. Yeah, dude, third, Cameron. Third best against wide receivers, man. McLaurin, one game back from being injured. He had a great game. But this is one of those, like, trap games, right? Like, all right, he's back from injury. He was great. Let's start him next week. Oh, shit, it's a really tough matchup. He's actually dog shit. Fuck. So that's why I saw Franklin. I was like, interesting. I just thought it was curious. It was very curious. I'm like that dude in the Harry Potter wand shop. Curious. Because the Broncos are playing the Raiders, dude. This can be a beat-up game. This could be like 35-7, right? They could hit the over. They can hit the over on mostly the Broncos scoring points. So, that's why I like Franklin. And as you said, he did get 16 points. What's that against the Raiders? Let's look at his target share, though. I feel like that's important, right? Now, before last game, we're talking about a guy who's getting no less than 8 targets. Coming out of the bye, his targets really took a hit. Let's see why that happened, though. Pat Bryant. I'll get to your question, Tammy. I don't know if you're still here, but what are my thoughts on Herbert? I think he's a handsome dude. I think the dude is handsome. Look, I'm a straight man, happily married with a child, but if I saw Justin Herbert out in the streets, if I saw Justin Herbert standing next to Dalton Schultz, I might kiss Justin Herbert and punch Dalton Schultz. I might get mixed up there and accidentally punch Justin Herbert and kiss Dalton Schultz, and then what do I do with myself? No, from a football standpoint, he's playing against the Eagles this week, which is really a tough matchup. But let's see how the Eagles have been doing against quarterbacks. I think that's the responsible thing. They're 24th worst against quarterbacks the last 4 weeks, or last 2 weeks, Tammy. And they are 17th best in the last 4 weeks. I think on the season, they're about middle of the pack, if I remember. Let's have a look. Yeah, 16th, literally middle of the pack. So I think you're okay with Herbert. At the end of the day, if you're going to score points on the Eagles, it is going to be, you're going to have to throw the ball, right? It's going to be really tough to run on them, except for like 1 week where, who was it that had like, I think it was the Bears. They had like 300 rushing yards on the Eagles in like the first half. So I like Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert against the Eagles. I think if they're going to have any chance, he's going to have to throw the ball. It's a pretty decent over-under, right? So, 42 and a half is not that great, actually. But I think he's okay. I think you're, like, confident in me. I think he should be, like, a top 12 guy, which, I don't know. Nah, definitely don't stream Tua. Trevor Lawrence against the Colts is interesting. He has been, like, a top 12 guy, I think, every week, right? The last, like, 4 weeks or so. 21, 20, 16, 10, 22. Okay, so Trevor Lawrence versus Herbert. We're talking about 2 handsome dudes with some luscious hair, right? We're talking about who has the hotter girlfriend. I guess that's the tiebreaker here. Madison Beer or who's Trevor Lawrence's girlfriend? I don't know. That honestly, I think you stick with Herbert off of. Do you, though, or do you not play Lawrence there? What would you guys, Fizz or Cam, dude? What would you guys do? Would you guys play? I'm sorry, Cam, I got distracted. I think we were talking about Franklin. Dude, we got 2 guys with some hair, man. We got 2 This is basically hair versus hair. So I don't know. I don't know who we go with here. Um, I do think Trevor Lawrence and Herbert are probably your top options. I don't know who I would personally go with. If I'm fully honest with you, the Taminator. Um, damn. I'd punch him right in the belly, Wes. I'd punch Schultz right in the belly, dude. Hey, excuse me, sir. Are you Dalton Schultz, starting tight end for the Houston Texans? He's like, why, yes, I am, young man. Even though I'm older than him, I'd be like, sir, would you mind if I fucking just punch him right in the belly? Just surprise punch. He'd be like, why? Why did you just do that? Either he'd start pummeling me instantly, or he'd have questions, right? He'd be like, why did this overweight dude just come and punch me in the belly? And I'd be like, listen, man, I don't like your name. Anyway, I'd go with Herbert just off being a slightly better player. Yeah, just a better quarterback in general. And if they're going to want to hang, he's going to have to throw the ball. While I can't see a situation where Trevor Lawrence can really lean on Etienne and Tootin. Maybe T-Law does throw 2 touchdowns, but is he going to have the yardage in a divisional game where both teams really don't want to make mistakes, don't want to give up a lot, bend but not break? I think Herbert is probably the safer play, in my opinion. I tend to agree with Cam on most things, so who would McCarthy lose his job to? Yeah, Fizz is watching the stream from the beginning, man. But Fizz, I think he would lose his job to probably a draft pick. Just think about it, Fizz. Like, you're talking about a guy who they let Daniel Jones walk. They let Sam Darnold walk with the expectation that McCarthy would be the future, right? He'd be the truth. And he's really not the truth or the future. He doesn't even seem to be the present. So I guess that's why I say I saw a report, Fizz, that the Vikings are interested in Daniel Jones. Can you imagine that, dude? That's like applying to a job that you quit. Like, yo, I know I quit, but I'm unemployed right now, and I'm looking for a job, dude. Can you guys maybe throw me a bone? So, I don't know. I think we're going to call it soon, guys. I think we're going to call it in a couple minutes. Maybe we'll make it to 6:30, and then we'll call the stream. So if you guys have any other questions, even if it's not football related, if you guys just want to talk about life, talked about alcohol addiction earlier, we can always watch knockout compilation videos on Twitter. We can have a look at some of the last minute news. How about that, man? Kyron to Minnesota. I don't know if I'd have the confidence for the full sprint, like Falcon punch on Dalton Schultz. I feel like I need to first introduce myself, be humble, and then it has to be like a surprise belly punch, right? Because if I come out of nowhere and just belly punch Dalton Schultz in public, there's not enough of a crescendo. There's not enough of a climax, right? It's like he's just having a latte, maybe in Venice, somewhere here in Europe. And I'm just, with my wife and kid. And I just look over and I see Dalton Schultz sitting at a cafe having a nice cappuccino, on a Tuesday morning. And I'm like, babe, take the baby. My wife is like, what? What happened? Just take the baby. Hand her my child. Fucking walk over slowly to Dalton Schultz. Lean in. Excuse me. Are you Dalton Schultz? He looks over. Yes, I am. Let's go. Belly punch. So I don't know. The surprise belly punch. That's not why we're doing the belly punch. Right? We're doing the belly punch because we want Dalton Schultz to know that he has scorned me. He's wronged me one too many times in fantasy football, right? If it's a surprise belly punch, it's not going to connect. It's not going to hit home. He's gonna, you know, I don't know. What are we even talking about, dude? I'm just trying to burn time. I'm trying to hit the I'm trying to hit the 30-minute mark so I can get the fuck out of here and have some penne pasta, dude. Cooked myself some penne pasta with some zucchini. All right. Now we're talking. But in all seriousness, if you guys have any more questions, let me know. Join the Discord. We're talking ball in there. I want to formally apologize. As much as I want to start Luther Burden today, the matchup isn't that good. I know. Here's the thing, FBS. The matchup is not good typically for wide receivers. But, Kyler Murray. I thought you meant Kyron. Typically, the matchup's not good for wide receivers, but Luther Burden, we don't know, should be playing from the slot. And that is like one of the few places you can beat the, who are they even playing? I don't even remember. But I remember doing the research. The Green Bay Packers. So the slot wide receiver role is kind of like a little bit of a soft spot on the defense. But you're starting Vele in his place. Listen, man. I'll be drinking a beer in your honor for doing that, because Vele had one good game, one singular good game, but it's definitely an easier matchup, right? The Buccaneers have been getting just absolutely destroyed by wide receivers. Where are they? Yeah, 22nd worst. So I get that, but I feel like Luther Burden's just a better player. Just hope he breaks one, gets a touchdown. I'd be starting Burden. If I had both of them, I'd be doing Burden personally, but I get you. I get you, FBS. Wesley, would you start Jordan Mason along with Aaron Jones? Or Juwan Johnson? I actually like that, Wes. I actually think I'd do Mason and Aaron Jones because it's a really good matchup, dude. The Commanders, as you guys can see here, 29th worst against running backs. They give up 25 fantasy points a week, 10 rushing touchdowns on the season. If we just look at the last 4 weeks, they're 32nd, Wes. If we look at the last 2 weeks, they're 30th, right? So the Commanders are getting absolutely trounced by running backs. Here's me. If it's a half PPR league, I'd go with Mason and Aaron Jones. And I do think you can get a combined like 30 fantasy points from both of them. I know that might sound crazy. Okay, maybe not 30, but maybe you can get like 25 fantasy points combined from both of them. While I think Juwan Johnson has a little bit of a higher chance to bust. Let's look at the matchup real quick. The Buccaneers. Okay. I mean, the Buccaneers are 11th best against tight ends. So it's not necessarily a good matchup for Juwan Johnson. That's true, Cam. Playing committee backs usually doesn't work. It's usually one or the other that produces, but I think this is one of those few situations where I think both committee backs could produce. I don't know. I think you're probably going to get the same production from both Mason and with Juwan. You're probably splitting hairs. I'd personally go with both guys just to lock in the like you said, if Aaron Jones were to go down or if he were to be limited, you're kind of guaranteeing the backfield production from the Vikings. So I'd go with Mason, but I get it, you know. Slam the rest of the beer, dude. I'll do it with you. I only have a little tiny bit left, but good luck, everyone. 6:31. Calling it here. I want to say sorry to everyone. I haven't been really around on the Discord. Just been really busy. It is kind of the end of the season. You know, fantasy's kind of winding down. Views are down. People kind of know who they're starting. They know, you know who's in the playoffs. And yeah, just winding down. Was a really busy week, but I hope to be back with some regular videos. Thank you guys for being here, man. Thank you for being in the Discord. Thank you guys for just being dope and just being people we can all talk, being people I can always talk ball with. And yeah, love you guys as well. Thank you, Cam. Love you as well, my friend. And I will catch you guys on Monday, man. Good luck with you guys' matchups. Hope you guys win. Hope you guys get in the playoffs. I'll be more than happy to help you guys with sit starts. So, Fizz just commenting on everything 30 minutes late because he's watching it back. I love it, dude. Fizz, keep commenting, dude. But we're calling it here. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys, as I mentioned, on Monday.